The movie starts around 1944, in the middle of World War II, and two fighter pilots, American pilot Hank Marlow and Japanese pilot Gunpei Ikari, parachute onto an island in the South Pacific Ocean and engage in close combat, but the fight is interrupted by a giant ape. In 1973, in Washington, D.C., government official Bill Randa and geologist Houston Brooks arrive to meet with Senator Willis to receive funding for an expedition to a recently discovered location called Skull Island. Before leaving, Randa tells Willis he also would like a military team. Their military team is the Sky Devils, a U.S. Army helicopter squadron newly returned from the Vietnam War and led by Lieutenant Colonel Preston Packard and his men and Conrad, wildlife survivor. The group is joined by photojournalist Mason Weaver, who believes the expedition is a secret military operation. Upon arrival at Skull Island, Packard's men begin dropping explosives developed by seismologist Houston Brooks to map out the island. However, the air unit is attacked by the same giant ape from 1944, who kills a number of military personnel and scatters the survivors across the island. Packard regroups with some of the scattered survivors. After being questioned by Packard, Randa reveals his affiliation to the secret government organization Monarch and its plan to use the expedition to prove the existence of monsters and determine their threat to humanity. Packard's group begins making their way to Chapman, whose helicopter crash-landed elsewhere, and all survivors have various encounters with the island's creatures. Conrad's group encounter the local tribe natives and an older Marlow. He reveals that the ape is Kong, the island's guardian, worshipped as a god by the natives for protecting them from many predators, including reptilian underground monsters named skullcrawlers, and the skullcrawlers are responsible for killing Kong's ancestors, leaving him as the last of his kind. Chapman is eaten by a skullcrawler, while Conrad's group helps Marlow complete a boat. They ride the boat down the river, and manage to secure communication with Packard's group, although his true objective is to find and kill Kong, who he believes as an enemy due to killing his men. Marlow leads the two groups to a mass grave littered with the bones of Kong's kin. There, a skullcrawler attacks the group, killing Randa and many soldiers. Packard blames Kong for the deaths of his men and becomes even more determined to kill him. The two groups part ways, with Packard's group laying a trap for Kong at a nearby lake while the non-military personnel head back to the boat. As Conrad and Weaver encounter Kong, Packard's group uses the remaining seismic explosives. A massive skullcrawler emerges from the lake and Packard is crushed to death by a recovering Kong. The skullcrawler overpowers Kong, but Kong returns to rescue the others and battle the beast and is helped by the survivors. During the fight, but Kong saves her from drowning. The skullcrawler then tries to kill Kong and eat Weaver, but Kong successfully kills it by ripping off the tongue and allows the survivors to leave the island. During the credits, Marlow is shown returning home and meet his family in a post-credits scene. Conrad and Weaver are detained by Monarch. They are informed by Brooks and San that Skull Island is just the beginning and that Kong is not the only monster king to roam the world. As proof, they are shown archive footage of cave paintings shows the monsters, and as the film cuts to black, the sound of